weapons.
That morning, Justine arrived at school as usual. When she walked into the classroom, she saw only one student named Alex. The other 17 children were absent without explanation. What happened the previous night was that at exactly 2:17 a.m., the children all woke up and ran out of their homes with their arms stretched out to the sides. They ran in the same direction and vanished into the darkness. The next day, the police began the investigation. They searched every corner of the houses, brought in search dogs to comb the surrounding area, but found absolutely no trace. Only a few security cameras showed the same scene: the children leaving their homes, arms spread wide, running in one direction. Alex and Justine were taken to the police station for questioning, but neither could provide any answer to explain the mystery. A few weeks later, during a meeting between the school and the parents of the missing children, one parent stood up and accused Justine of saying or doing something that caused the children to leave. Although Justine apologized and tried to explain that she knew nothing and was suffering from the loss just like them, no one believed her. They became furious, chased after her, and demanded she return the children. Principal Marcus told Justine she should go straight home because the situation was too dangerous for her. Since the incident, Justine's life had not been the same. She was constantly harassed by anonymous phone calls. Even her neighbors avoided her. Someone even wrote the word witch on her car. The next morning, Justine had no choice but to drive the car with the word witch on it to school. Principal Marcus asked her to take a leave of absence for a while, partly for her safety and partly for the school's reputation. At first, Justine refused because she wanted to see Alex to check on him. But Marcus said Alex was doing very well and told her not to go near the boy and to leave everything to the investigation team. Although unwilling, Justine had to accept the decision. She went home feeling wronged and discouraged. That night, Justine went to a bar to drown her sorrows and called her ex-boyfriend Paul to join her for company. While drinking, Justine wanted to ask Paul to help her investigate the case of the children, but Paul refused because he also suspected she might be involved and did not want trouble for himself. The next morning, Justine drove Paul home. She thought that after a night of intimacy Paul would change his mind and help her investigate, but Paul still firmly refused. Justine said she would investigate the situation herself to clear her name. After school hours, Justine secretly followed the bus that took Alex home. When she was near the house, she was surprised to see the door automatically open as if someone were already inside. Justine approached the door, rang the bell, and asked to see Alex, but no one answered. She walked around to check if there was another way to get inside, but all the windows were covered with newspapers. It seemed like something suspicious was happening inside. She stopped at a window with a small gap. Looking through the gap, she saw Alex's parents sitting on the sofa, stiff like statues. Frightened, she stepped back and accidentally dropped a shovel. When she looked inside again, she still saw Alex's parents sitting there. Terrified, Justine hurried away and called Marcus to tell him about this strange situation. Marcus ordered Justine to stay away from Alex's family. That night, Justine had a nightmare. She saw herself entering the classroom at midnight. All the students were bowing their heads on the desks, except Alex, who lifted his face painted like a clown. Justine woke up in panic. But as soon as she lay back down, she saw a red-haired woman clinging to the ceiling. She screamed in fear. The next morning, Justine went to see Alex again. She approached and asked how he was. Alex said he was fine and asked Justine not to follow him anymore. However, Justine continued to observe the house from afar for the whole day. That night, while Justine was sleeping, the door of Alex's house slowly opened. Alex's mother, walking with a strange posture, approached the car, took a pair of scissors, and secretly cut a lock of her hair. Meanwhile, Archer, the father of Matthew, one of the missing children, had been unable to sleep since Matthew left home. Every morning before going to work, he always rewatched the video capturing the moment his son walked out of the house, hoping to find some clue. That morning, Archer went to check the construction progress of a client's house. When he learned that the paint color they used was wrong and needed to be changed, he took the paint to the store. On the way, Archer stopped by the local police station to ask about the progress of the case. The police chief explained that his team was still working hard, but there was no suspect and no valuable lead. The chief's explanation angered Archer. He questioned why the police had not arrested Justine when she was the most suspicious person in the case. It turned out that after his son disappeared, Archer believed Justine was the culprit. He accused her during the meeting, demanded the principal suspend her, and he was also the one who spray-painted witch on Justine's car. That night, Archer had a strange dream. He saw his son running out of the house with his arms spread, crossing the street, and disappearing. He rushed after him and suddenly stopped right in front of his own house. When he looked up, he saw a rifle floating in the air along with a timestamp, 2:17. He walked into Matthew's room, stood by the bed, apologized, and gently asked where his son was. But when the light shined on the boy's face, the face turned into a demonic clown. Archer jolted awake and wondered what was happening. The next morning, when he stepped out of the house, he looked up at the power lines. An idea came to him. He rushed back inside, took a map, marked his house and the point where his son disappeared, and drew a straight line. He needed to confirm another straight line to find the intersection, which might reveal the place where the children had gone. Thinking this, he immediately went to the home of another missing child. After reviewing the video, he calculated the direction, then drew another line on the map and successfully found the intersection point, but he still could not determine what place it was. While driving past a gas station, Archer happened to see Justine. He approached, wanting to talk to her, but she reacted harshly because she had nothing to do with the incident. Yet Archer kept trying to accuse her. While the two were arguing intensely, Justine suddenly saw someone rushing toward them with arms spread wide, in the same posture as the missing children. Justine recognized that it was Principal Marcus. As if being controlled by someone, Marcus charged at Justine to attack her. Archer reacted quickly and tried to restrain Marcus. Justine managed to run into the convenience store of the gas station. Marcus at that moment had blood in his mouth and his eyes bulging like a zombie, with Justine as his only target. Cut to Paul. At the police station, Paul told the police chief he would take a few days off and return to work on Sunday, then went out on patrol. On the road, he saw a young man named James trying to break into a house. Paul gave a warning signal, and James panicked and ran. Paul immediately chased after him. Reaching a dead end, Paul tackled James to the ground, handcuffed him, and prepared to take him to the station. Paul asked James a few personal questions and searched him. While checking his pocket, Paul's finger was pricked by a syringe. Seeing his injured finger, Paul became furious and knocked James unconscious. He quickly went to the car to get a first aid kit. When he looked up, he realized the dashcam had recorded the entire incident. Paul then threatened James to leave Maybrook and never come back. He returned to the station and reported the incident to the police chief. The chief said that as long as the thief did not file a complaint, nothing would happen. Still angry, Paul received a message from Justine. He went to the bar and met her there. The two had another passionate night together. The next day while working, Paul stepped outside and saw James wandering nearby. Thinking James was heading to the station to report him, Paul immediately got into his car to chase him. Switching to James. James lived in a tent in the woods, addicted to drugs, unemployed, making a living by stealing things and selling them cheap at a secondhand store. That day, while prying open a house door, he was spotted by Paul. He ran desperately but was still beaten bruised by Paul. After being threatened to leave town, James wandered, planning to return to his tent, when he suddenly noticed a house that seemed quiet. He decided to get closer. Seeing the front door locked, he slipped over the fence and climbed into the house through a second-floor window. When he saw the inside was dark with no one around, he started rummaging through the place. Suddenly, he saw a couple sitting motionless on the sofa. Thinking he had been caught, he explained repeatedly, but when he approached, he realized they were mindless, as if hypnotized. Before leaving, he was drawn to a door leading to the basement. When he went down, a group of children with empty faces suddenly turned around and stared straight at him. James panicked, ran back up, and slammed the door shut. But before he could escape, the couple suddenly stood up and approached him. James fled outside in terror. At the secondhand store, James saw a notice offering a $50,000 reward for information about the missing children. A huge amount of money he had always wished for. He immediately called the police to report what he had seen inside their house. But who would believe the words of a drug addict who had just gotten high? As he was about to leave, James was suddenly called back by Paul. Seeing Paul chasing him, James ran for his life. While passing through the forest to return to his tent, James felt something frightening. In the distance, a red-haired woman with heavy makeup was waving at him. Terrified, he quickly ran back to his tent, hoping no one would follow him. A shadow slowly approached. He grabbed a syringe to defend himself. When the zipper of the tent slowly opened, he thrust the syringe forward. Unexpectedly, it stabbed Paul in the face. Paul exploded in rage and almost shot him, but James shouted that he knew where the children were being held. James insisted that he was not lying. Paul put James in the car and rushed to Alex's house. Paul left James in the car and went inside alone to verify James's statement. From inside the car, James saw the door slowly open, and Paul walked inside. He did not know what happened, but by evening the door still did not open. Suddenly, the door opened, and Paul aggressively approached the car, grabbed James by the legs, and dragged him back into the house. Returning to the moment, Justine called Marcus to report what she had seen at Alex's house. At that time, Marcus was shopping in a supermarket with his boyfriend. When he heard Justine mention the situation of Alex's parents, Marcus reassured her and said he would arrange a meeting next Monday. On the day of the meeting, the ones who appeared were not Alex's parents but the red-haired woman with flashy makeup. She introduced herself as Gladys, Alex's aunt, and said Alex's parents were sick and could not come. That afternoon, while Marcus was watching TV with his boyfriend, Gladys suddenly appeared in a panic state. After telling a series of stories no one cared about, she pretended to be thirsty and asked to sit inside the house and rest. Marcus found it strange and intended to refuse, but his boyfriend, who was kind-hearted, invited her inside. Gladys asked to drink water from a bowl. Although it was strange, Marcus still did as she asked. After receiving the bowl, Gladys took a thin twig out of her bag, wrapped a ribbon around it, then cut her own palm. She then cut a lock of Marcus's boyfriend's hair. Just as Marcus was about to call the police, she held up a small brass bell. She shook it lightly once, and Marcus trembled, gradually losing consciousness as if under a curse. She wrapped the hair around the twig and snapped it. Immediately, Marcus attacked his boyfriend, vomited a black, foul-smelling slime all over his face, and brutally killed him by smashing his head repeatedly. Only when the witch threw the twig into the bowl of water did Marcus stop. She then used Justine's hair to wrap around another twig and broke it again. The next target Marcus would go after was certainly Justine. In a trance-like state, arms spread wide, he walked across the town heading straight toward Justine. As soon as he saw Justine, he charged at her. Although Archer intervened, Marcus continued chasing Justine into a nearby supermarket. Justine tried to escape through the back door but discovered it was locked. Just as he was about to approach her, Archer rushed forward and pushed him hard into a beverage cooler. Justine seized the chance to run outside. But before she could start her car, Marcus had already reached her and shattered the window. Thinking she was about to be caught, she turned the key with force, the car started, and she sped away, but Marcus did not give up and chased after her. Archer, wounded in the hand, saw Marcus and got into his car to follow. At an intersection, Marcus was hit directly by another vehicle, causing his head to be crushed. At the hospital, while having his wound bandaged, Archer told the police everything. Outside in the hallway, Archer met Justine again. Justine expressed her gratitude, and Archer let go of his suspicion toward her. Archer spread out the map and told her about his discovery. He had drawn lines in the directions the children had run before disappearing, and believed the intersection point was likely where the children had gathered. Justine panicked when she realized the center point was Alex's house. Alex was one of the quiet students who was often bullied at school. One day, when Alex's father picked him up from school, he informed Alex that Aunt Gladys would be staying with them for a while. That night, Alex's father brought Gladys home. The next morning, Alex accidentally overheard his parents talking. Although they were not happy to have Gladys staying with them, Alex's mother hoped they could take care of her for a while. She told Alex to wash up and come have breakfast. Out of curiosity, Alex peeked into Gladys's room and found a wig and a small potted plant. He was startled when he realized the aunt was also staring directly at him. He went to school as usual, but that day he waited a long time and still did not see his father come to pick him up. He had no choice but to walk home alone. When he opened the door and entered the house, everything was unusually quiet. His parents were sitting there motionless. As he stepped closer to greet them, Gladys walked out from the kitchen. He asked why his parents were like that, and she answered that they were fine. But when he splashed a cup of water on his father's face, his father merely raised a finger to wipe the water away. Alex could not believe his eyes. The aunt became angry and ordered Alex upstairs and left him without food. The next morning, he saw his parents still sitting silently in the same position. When the aunt told Alex to keep everything in the house a secret but he seemed unwilling, she took out a dry twig, pierced her own hand, wrapped hair around it, and snapped it. As if under a spell, Alex's parents used forks and repeatedly stabbed their own faces. Terrified, Alex tried to stop them, but it was useless. Only when the aunt dropped the twig into a bowl of water did his parents stop. This was her warning to Alex if he did not obey. Alex carried this fear with him every day to school. All of their windows had been sealed shut. Day after day, Alex could only feed his parents instant noodles in cans. One night, Alex woke up and went to his aunt's room. By then, she had become old and weak. Alex asked if she needed anything. She told him to bring her any item from one of his classmates. That way she would recover quickly and leave. Alex believed that only when she left would his parents return to normal, so he agreed to help her. At school, Alex was removing name tags from his classmates' desks when Justine caught him. She approached and checked on him. Alex said he was fine. Justine told him that if anything happened, he could come talk to her. Even so, Alex could not reveal what was happening in his house. Back home, Alex hurried to give the name tags to his aunt. That night, Alex woke up and saw his aunt performing some kind of ritual. He asked what she was doing, but she did not answer and continued to tear the name tags, put them into a bowl of water, and pray. At exactly 2:17, she held a small bell and shook it once. By some kind of magic, outside the children raised their arms and began running one by one toward Alex's house. Alex witnessed the entire scene but did not know why his aunt was doing this. The next morning, Alex went to school. In the classroom, he was the only one left. To find the missing children, Alex's family was brought to the police station for questioning. Because his aunt had carefully applied makeup on his father, no one noticed anything unusual. When they returned home, the aunt told Alex to clean the house the next day so that when the police came to investigate, they would not suspect anything. The aunt also temporarily released the children. The investigators were misled, while Alex continued his daily life, caring for his soulless parents and going to school as usual. One day, Alex came home and saw a police car parked in front of the house. When he entered, he discovered Paul and James had also turned into soulless beings like his parents. Alex ran upstairs angrily, but his aunt suddenly announced that they would leave the next day. The next day, Alex woke up and saw a car parked in front of the house. It was Archer and Justine. As they were unsure whether they should knock on the door, a police officer stepped out. Justine recognized that it was Paul. As if being invited back into the house, Archer and Justine followed him inside. Justine accidentally stepped on a line marked with salt. Archer tried to stop her, but suddenly James rushed from behind and attacked Archer, while Paul attacked Justine. Screams echoed throughout the house. Archer punched James hard, knocking him out, but just 1 second later he woke up again. Upstairs, Alex gathered all his courage and stepped over the salt line. His parents immediately lunged at him, but Alex managed to escape in time. Downstairs, Paul charged at Justine and strangled her. She cut his face with a fruit peeler, yet Paul continued to tighten his grip and lifted her off the ground. Outside, Archer was fighting James. Every time he knocked him out, James would wake up again. Eventually James pushed Archer down into the basement. While struggling, Archer discovered the children being held captive there. At that moment, Justine grabbed the police officer's gun and shot him twice, narrowly escaping death. She then went to rescue Archer. Archer shined a light on each child to find his son. Suddenly, the aunt snatched his necklace and cast a hypnosis spell. Archer turned and attacked Justine. Upstairs, Alex ran into his aunt's room, snapped off a twig, pierced his own finger, then wrapped the aunt's hair around the twig and broke it. By the time the aunt realized what had happened, it was too late. The children in the basement rushed out, and this time their target was her. The aunt panicked and ran outside, but a child caught her. The others swarmed at her and tore her apart literally. The scene looked like something out of a zombie movie, bloody and horrifying. In the end, the tragedy was finally over. Archer regained consciousness and found his son. Alex was reunited with his parents. The story ends, but although those who were hypnotized have been freed from the curse, will they truly return to their former lives? What did you think about the movie? Leave your comments below. Thank you and see you next time.